Hi guys, this is Larilyn with House of Okoti Design coming to you on this Sunday for my Sunday sewing shenanigans. Today I'm just reviewing my pattern. It's Mimi G style pattern, Simplicity 9330. I actually sewed view A. It's a Bustier jumpsuit, and it's one of my garments for my Oh So Fly in Dubai wardrobe I'll be wearing this summer. This is the actual garment that I made here. So it's such a beautiful pattern, fabulous fitting bustier jumpsuit. I just love the Ankara fabric that I chose. Take a look at the inside. That lining is just as gorgeous on the inside as it is on the outside. This is the back here. And it does come with a wrapped belt to really cinch the waist when you're wearing it. All right, so, oh, forgot to mention also there's an upper and lower drape there on the side, and you'll see a much better view of that on the dress form. Alrighty, so let's talk about this pattern review. Again, it's a fabulous fitting garment. It's a pretty sew, pretty easy sew. I did space it out, however, over the course of about a week, because of course I'm always doing multiple projects at once and never really completing one at one sitting. And I'm sure I'm not alone doing that, so I won't feel guilty. So getting back to the pattern review. Basically, you know, you start with the bustier portion. There's about 11 pieces to this pattern. Once everything's all laid out, you know, you cut all your pieces out, make sure that the pieces that are parallel to the correct selvages, you know, the selvage is your lengthwise grain, and all of that's really important in determining the accurate fit and hang of the garment. Why do all that work if it's not going to fit and look right, right? So don't skip out on those directions. Next bit of advice would be don't forget to stay stitch. The top portion, you know, of the bustier here, you want to make sure that you do the, not top stitching, I'm sorry, you want to do the proper stay stitching here as well to make sure that everything is going to be fitting properly to the other piece. So as I was saying about the stay stitching, it's really important along the top of the bustier. Looking at the pattern instructions, let's see, what else could have been a little tricky here? Make sure when you're doing the drape portion, the upper and the lower drape, that you're actually using the right pieces. When I first sewed the pattern, I sewed them upside down. So I actually had the lower drape in lieu of the upper drape. So make sure you're choosing the right one, but the instructions are pretty straightforward. I think I was just probably not paying attention and reading it too fast, but you can clearly see here the different shapes, right? I overlooked that. Okay, going forward with the pattern, let's see, the tie. Make sure that when you sew the tie to the drape, looking at step 25 here, make sure you don't sew your tie guys inside of the seam. I had to go in and rip all of that out. It wasn't that bad, but one of those things, again, not paying attention. So, and this was the portion where you're wanting to make sure that the, you know, the belt is on the outside, basically outside of the seam on the right, you know, when you're sewing. So let's see, the bustier came together pretty nicely. When you're creating your boning channels, you just want to make sure that you're using a size or a width that's going to fit within your channels. Keep in mind when you've started with your, for example, 5/8 of an inch, and you're cutting down or trimming down, you know, any of those allowances, you'll have a narrower width. So, and if your sewing is not on point all the way, your boning channels will be different sizes, and that will also show on the outside. So you just want to make sure that you have a pretty consistent, you know, seam, pretty consistent seam when you're sewing those, okay? And I can actually show you. Let me show you what I used for my boning. For this project, I actually used this smaller boning channel because, you know, it's not like it's a corset where it needs to be super cinched. This is just more for structure, okay? And I think this was around like a 5mm size. Don't quote me though on that. All right, moving forward, I chose to actually serge my lining, the edges of my lining, so when it flips over, everything is really neat, and that was less sewing for me. So I did all of the serging, you know, prior. Another thing to remember, guys, make sure you don't make sure that you don't sew down that left side of the lining bodice, you know, by the zipper, because you don't want to enclose your zipper inside of all of that work either. Ask me how I know. All right, so then you want to stitch to the right of the zipper teeth, of course, when you're sewing this as well. What else was tricky on this pattern? Nothing really. Everything was pretty, you know, straightforward. You know, then you connect, once your bustier portion's done, the pants are done, you know, you connect everything, you know, together, and that's basically how you make this jumpsuit. Again, it was a beautiful sew. Didn't take a whole lot of time, just a couple of those tricky areas with the tie and the drape portion connecting together. And, you know, again, if you get stuck on anything, you know, definitely use the resource that you have, the wonderful Mimi G on YouTube. I think she does a full, you know, tutorial on this actual pattern. And you can resort to that portion where you know, may struggle with the belt, you know, going into the drape. I think she modified that portion a little bit. But other than that, it's a great sew. Again, thanks for watching. Lerlyn with House of Agoti Design and my Sunday Shenanigans Sewing. On to the next project for my Oh So Fly in Dubai wardrobe. Have a great Sunday, guys. Bye. And guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, House of Agoti Design, on YouTube, my social media handles, Instagram at House of Agoti, Facebook, House of Agoti Design and Gifts, and also toying with TikTok, trying to grow that channel as well, just showing some demonstrations and my pattern reviews. That's also at House of Agoti. Have a great day, guys. Thanks again.